So just a piece of warning this morning. It's not a very fun theme this morning, though we're still talking about forgiveness and God's forgiveness, and that is awesome actually. But I need to speak about sin some, because as I said, our silly hearts without meditation can easily fathom that forgiveness is somehow like easy for God. It's a little thing and it doesn't really matter to him. That's why it's so easy for him to forgive. But I have a hard time, and he should understand that I have a hard time. Well, let's just look at that for a moment. So in the 51st Psalm is a Psalm of David, and okay, so the background, it's not a pretty one. So in 2 Samuel 11, and David has his friend, well, at least his subordinate, but a very loyal, apparently a friend, subordinate, murdered. Okay, he doesn't do it, but actually it's his decision. Why? Well, because he liked the guy's wife. He wanted the wife's. Well, not only wanted, actually, he had his friend's wife, and the woman got pregnant. And then David first tried to pretend that this was Uriah's child. That was the name of the friend. And then when he couldn't pretend it, then he decided to have him killed. And so he instructed the general, and he had him killed. The enemy killed him, actually, but it was David's decision. It was his doing. And then he married the woman. The widow. So that was awful. That's a great start for the morning. Sorry about that. I told you this won't be too much fun. But why am I saying that? Well, that's awful. That is disgusting. That is evil. That is betrayal on a level that, wow, that's just like, I don't know. It's forgiveness, and that would be like, what? How could Uriah, if he were still alive, if he still had the chance, how could Uriah forgive David for that? I mean, that's like unbelievable evil. And and then David in Psalm 51 verse 4 says, against you only have I sinned. And he's talking to God. Actually, let me read the whole verse. Against you only have I sinned and done this evil in your sight, that you may be justified when you speak and be clear when you judge. David is saying, you have the right to judge about sin because you alone have I sinned against. And it's interesting because when you think about it, well, David sinned against Bathsheba when he took her. David sinned against Joab, the general, who did his bidding and had left Uriah in the front line alone to be slaughtered. He sinned against, well, obviously Uriah, whose wife he took, and also whom he had murdered. So, and then beyond that, he sinned against the whole country because he abused his power as king, which is, just the same as today when a politician is corrupt and they steal and they rob and they take by force, and then they are sinning against the city or the county or the country where they are, where they have power. So the same way David was sinning against the whole country, he was ruining his own kingdom and his family, as we see later come back to him. So, like we just listed all of those people. So why is David saying, against you only have I sinned? Is this just poetic language? Is he just trying to say something big to get the forgiveness of God, because that way God will more likely forgive him because he is somehow exalting God even in his sin or something? Why is David saying that? And the answer is actually that he is saying that because God is most offended by sin. So much offended that every other offended party, every other offense compared to that one is negligible, actually. So I just that's an interesting thought for the morning, and I'm just trying to say with it that no, it's not a small thing for God to forgive sin. And I guess we're going to come back tomorrow to this, because, these are just short snippets and I don't want to take too much of your time. Just consider that. Psalm 51 verse 4, think about it, pray about it, consider that, and let's see what you come to in your heart and where God leads you with that. God bless your day.